Hi there guys and welcome to another Train Sim 2017 video. Today we're doing a little bit of a surprise scenario that Chris Horsfield sent me. I wasn't expecting this one, he hasn't told me anything about it. He said he had one that he'd been planning for a while and wanted me to have a look. So I said, what is it? And he said, nah, I'm not telling you. Now usually when he says that to me, I end up going, okay, do I not even get a clue? And he goes, I'll tell you what it is anyway, and tells me what it is, or sends me a screenshot about 5 minutes later. This time he has kept himself quiet. I got this message sort of about 9 o'clock this morning when I'd not long been in work, and the first thing I knew about it was when the scenario was up on his webpage. So I've tried not to read the README because he sort of sent me a list of what I'd need, so I kind of had an inkling of what it might be, but there's lots of stock in it, so I didn't really know what I was driving or where I was going. I knew I'd be up this end of the country, but didn't know what I was doing. So this is all new to me. This is also on the Scottish East Coast Main Line, which I haven't driven in years. Literally years. I didn't even have it installed until yesterday. And then I was getting the issues with his last Scottish East Coast Main Line scenario, so I didn't even drive any further than out of the first set of tunnels on his scenario set on this route. So it's going to be a bit of relearning for me. Not that I knew it that well anyway. I knew it Dundee down, but not Edinburgh back up. It's been a while since I've seen it, so let's get going and we can go from there. So, I didn't get to read the blurb. Is it in here? No. Good morning, driver. Open the doors. There's my guess. You're driving a train from A to B. No. So we're going from Edinburgh and we're going to Haymarket, South Gyle, Dalmeny, North Queensferry, Inverkeithing, Dalgety Bay, Aberdour, Boatsland, Kingham, Kirkcaldy, where else? Thornton, Glenrothes. Right, okay. My pronunciation of Scottish terms on the East Coast is off because I'm from the West Coast. East Coast is not really my place. I've not had too much to do with East Coast. It's the ETS on. Let's have some headlights on. So some instrument lights on as well. Are they on this panel down here? I think. Oh, I'm just going to press I. I've got the brake fix installed. What this basically means is by pushing that I don't go into emergency, and by doing that I still get release. So it just stops us going into emergency too quickly. That's that, and that's my direct brake. So this has got like rear static braking, train air braking, and loco braking. That's cool. It's got some fuel, our lights are on. (17th of 7/17). It does actually give you the. Is it 19.7 degrees outside, or is it 197 degrees outside? Oh, we need to be going. I've not got a guard's buzzer, and I've got two. Let's pull those brakes off. They're quite slow to come off and on. I will have to remember that. Haymarket will be our test, I suppose. This is a Just Trains tunnel mouth that hasn't got land in it. Brilliant. Oh, couldn't be perfect, could it? I do quite like this bit of this route. I think it's got a little bit more to it than sort of the Thomson version. And this will be in sort of 3D modelled instead of just like a background. Is quite nice. I've done a good job with it. Each of I mean, this is covered in what, 4 different routes. Each of them have got their own pluses and minuses. I mean, I'm no massive expert on this end of Edinburgh, but I know Chris is, and I've spoken to him about it. And he has sort of like, some on this route, the Just Trains ones tend to be either platforms aren't the right shape or are too short. It's quite funny. He says that they haven't been edited. He says even though they're older routes, the platforms themselves haven't been edited in quite a while, so they should be right. So I mean, even though it looks pretty, it's not particularly correct. And I don't know what's going on with the tunnel occlusion here. I quite like it though. So we're stopping at Haymarket on platform 2 on the way out of here, so I'm not going to give it too much beans. And I think the general consensus between me and Chris really is that the Edinburgh to Glasgow route by Thomson is just slightly better done. I mean, like you'll see when we get further out here, if I remember rightly on this route, Murrayfield is stunning. And on the Thomson one, it's not as detailed as it is on this one, but it's still a nice route. Oh, I'm already running like a minute late. How have I got a floating basket? Another one that side as well. It's really weird because literally this route was installed yesterday. Got to be careful, that brake's very slow to come on. Have to keep an eye on that. It's green. I'm just going to try and be like really efficient. I have put it into neutral. Excellente. I do quite like the noise the 68 makes for a DTG pack. Well, to be fair, I'm about to say this, and I haven't actually spent very much time with 68s up close and in person at all, or particularly watched them on YouTube to get a sort of gist of the sounds of them. So to me, their sounds are all right. It's definitely one of the better trains sounds wise by DTG. No gantry there either. Do you know, it's weird. I think I might actually have to send a bit of a email over to Just Trains. I don't think I'm doing enough justice, but it does seem to be every single one of their routes I have some sort of scenery issue with. Whether it's scenery not loading up correctly, whether I'm getting missing like assets like there. I mean, this was only installed yesterday, and it's the latest version from their website. This isn't an old install I've had for ages and ages. Good old Murrayfield. You see, it's been done nicely there. I do quite like that. Oh, what's that I spy? The breakdown crane. Church building's nice as well. I like that. I'm going to watch my brake gauge here. How does that horn sound from outside? Oh. What was I saying about good sounds? Yeah. Now I've slowed down a little bit early. I'm still getting used to the braking on this with the new patch. This is the first time I've driven it with it on, so I did notice it comes on quite slowly, so I've got to be kind of careful. This is me trying to remember my route knowledge. I was trusting my instincts more than the HUD there about where the station was. I had it that it was literally just off the corner, and it's not. So I've learned my lesson. I will say one thing about this route. It does feel Scottish. It has that bit about it. And yeah, for those of you watching the videos that haven't watched my others, as much as I sound English, I am actually Scottish. I've just lived in England for 20 odd years. But I actually grew up on the west coast. Started off in Glasgow and then lived in Dumfries for a bit before moving down south, so and yeah, I've not really done the East Coast at all, really. I've been on sort of highlands in the east. How late am I running now? Nearly 2 minutes late. I made it in that platform. Not quite. If I'd pulled up that sort of... Yeah, if I'd pulled up to that stop board, I would have been just right. Am I 6? I am 6. And see, I was trying to be good and I'd forgot about it there. I'd left it in and forward again. So down many in about 5 miles. Let's give it some beans then. Tell you, this is one of those trains where I wish I'd sort of kept my field of view of it a bit further back. I think it'd be nice to have a slightly further back field of view. So tell you what, if any of you guys do know why I'm getting this issue specifically with Just Train stuff, please by all means stick it in the comments below. It will stop Chris laughing at me as well. Ah, talking of lorries, I like the fire over there. Is that the skip fire? There's a skip fire in West Coast Main Line North as well. No, it's just a fire. Talking of lorries parked up here, there's a guy on one of the Facebook groups. I don't know if it was my own actually, it might have been. I can't remember the fella's name and I can't check, but when I do find out I will mention his name in here. Has done skins for all the trucks on the West Coast Main Line Trent Valley. And it looks amazing. He's got Stobart skins, he's got all sorts on there that are really nice. So this is me really in unknown territory now. Looking at this like I've never driven on it before. This is all looking brand new to me. Oh, 75. Jesus, some hill that. Is that a 50 or a 90 after there? Looks like a 90 to me. 75, 90, it was just for that bridge, just fine. We're going down to 60. I'll give it a bit of that. I think that's just a morph board for us going down to 60 and not something in front of us, Mr. Horsfield. I've actually got somebody else that's done me a few scenarios to look at in the next couple of days. Mr. Dreamliner himself. It's Josh Thorpe. He's another person that's quite active in a lot of the groups, and he's got a good group himself. Quite a large amount of followings. Waiting for a couple of scenarios from him. I've also got another set of scenarios from another guy that I'm not going to mention just yet until I've tested 1 or 2 myself first, but they're looking really good as well, so fingers crossed. We've got quite a few scenarios lined up for the next couple of weeks, enough to keep me busy anyway. I like the caravan site. So it just seems to be one sort of gantry that's missing. You see, by using the train brake, it's putting on the rear static as well, so it doesn't seem to make any difference if I use the rear static. Did we make up any time there? No, we lost at about, we're still on sort of 2 minutes. Well, we'll stop there. We can't not really, can we? Go and have a quick look. It's a stunning, stunning model. I mean, I'm not going to worry about the texture, and even though it isn't really brilliant, but the rest of it is beautiful. And we'll do our best to get a nice screenshot over this. As you can imagine, you wouldn't expect me to do anything less. It's probably one of the most iconic sites of Scotland. And we can cross it now. Oh, sounds are all going a bit haywire there. So let those guys know that I'm moving off. It is just beautiful. It's lovely going on it in real life. So it's something was ridiculous, 7 or 8 years to build this thing. It was opened in 1890, to be precise. Is that a wee man on the bridge? Oh, that's right, Alan. Be that disrespectful that you speed over it. I'm going to come out of the cab and try and get some, just some views of what it actually looks like. Going beside, I said we all quite often get this view of trains over the Fourth Rail Bridge, don't we? But it's the in-cab views I think you don't get that much of. I quite like that. I could have it going that way, but then that's not really my... Oh no, actually. That's quite nice. Right, anyway, I've been saying for ages I'm going to stop doing that in videos, and I am actually going to stop. Why has my mouse decided to have an absolute woo just at the wrong time? That's also going to be quite a pretty shot. We'll have to see which one makes the final cut. I'm stopping here, God. Yeah, we should make it relatively long, to be fair. Don't stop, don't stop. We won't be on the platform yet. Right, that was some shonky driving. I was actually trying to drive this pretty professionally, if I'm honest. And I've not done a brilliant job so far, and I've not done another decent job now. That'll do me. So, if you're wondering what the issue was I was talking about with Just Trains tunnels, you have a great sort of example of it just here. So if you look, it actually just pushes me up. So according to the view, the camera, it's actually scenery. It's a solid bit. But through it goes. Fair down gradient here as well. Or a falling, is that falling gradient? You get rising and falling, didn't you? It's nice doing this route, it's like a little route refresher for me. can accelerate here just to come back down. I've got a 30 at the end of this, plus stopping at Inverkeithing itself. That horn is so pony. So it might be the same as the one on the 70. There's one train I really like to see the brake gauges. That was a pretty harsh stop, to be fair. So I'll look around Inverkeithing.
The train now approaching platform 7 is the 0825 cross-country service to Edinburgh. This train is a service from Penzance.
I like these signs. The station sound announcements, while I quite like the fact that it does say something, I quite like the ones that are just sort of gobbledygook because of this.
May I have your attention, please? Please do not leave cases or parcels unattended anywhere.
So, was that my whistle? I like that. The announcements tend to be the same, so they're looped. So if you spend any time on a platform, it tends to repeat itself. I mean, hopefully you're not going to spend enough time there. So I'm not actually going to have a good dig about that with them, but if you know the route, right, or know, once you've done this a few times, or you've spent some time at the stations, or you've driven on these routes quite a bit, it does tend to get on your wick a bit. Oh, 55. Not for long though, so we've got to 40. I mean, it is pretty. I can't moan. Can't moan. It looks nice, doesn't it? And considering this route's actually, I mean, this is a fair age. It's no spring chicken. Slow crawl to the stopping board. Which doesn't have, or does it have one right at the end? See, I love people like PTG who like take the time to really learn routes, and I'm jealous. I won't lie, really jealous of their ability to route learn. And he really learns his stock inside and out as well. Then they do videos on them. Me not being the sharpest tool in the box, just jumps into train and gives it a go. I suppose I could say I could learn from them, and I do. That's very true. There's a lot that I've learnt from the likes of PTG Rail, Squirrel to an extent, QWERTY Afro to an extent, Matt Pedalston. It's quite funny because those of you that know Matt Pedalston, there was the famous Nebworth incident where he missed Nebworth station, so it became a Nebworth. Every time you missed a station, it was a Nebworth. And somebody just not long after I started the Facebook page actually said that the DRA, not resetting the DRA, was my Nebworth. And that's pretty true. It is one thing I continuously miss, especially because most of the AP products, every time when you start them off, AWS isolation. Oh, you can do that, can you? Turn it back on there. Lucky that didn't like reset. No, stick my brakes on or anything. So this DRA isolated icon keeps popping up, but that's not in the isolated position. Let's give it the beans, stretch its legs while we've got a couple of miles. It's 10.3 kilograms an hour of fuel. Whoa. So I wonder if my engine particularly cools down. I'm not thrashing at 67.4. Let's try and remember that. I won't, but I'll try. So Aberdeen, Iceland, Kingham, Goldie, Thornton. Love the chimneys on this route. It's like the houses are burning rocket fuel. I'll show you what I mean in a second when we stop. I'm going to nail the braking on that soon, I tell you. I'll be honest with you, I think I'd practiced so much with the other one, with the bad brakes. That's not doing this, look. Some fair smoke there. Quite like the fact that Just Trains do it. On some routes, on Just Trains, there is a bit of overkill on the stuff around the route, and then other times they just literally have it nice and sparse. So basically, you're not loading assets you won't ever see. Nice little bridge for a spot if it's as low as this looks in real life. Whoa! What was that? If I can work out the braking on this station and do it nicely, should be about back on time. Oh, it's nice running by the water. I can't wait till I'm old and can retire and live by the sea. And that will be out on the west coast of Scotland or down in Cornwall. Do you know, by then they might actually, well, I might have won the lottery and then I could have both. And I could have different ways to get there. Could have a nice boat, and I'm not really fussy about cars, if I'm honest with you. Oh, if I won the lottery, I'd maybe have a helicopter as well. A little, what to have? Probably a Raban. I wouldn't go for the 22. That's too small. Probably the R44. And the thing is, I'd say I'd travel first class, but you could do. The only people that do it is cross-country trains, isn't it? As is spoken about in this video, actually, Penzance upwards. So I think I'd probably rather go to London and come up the. See, this is the weirdness. It's going to sound I'm just contradicting myself massively now, isn't it? So in Scotland and Cornwall, I like the west. The rest of England, I like the east. It's quite odd, isn't it? And it's funny because my dad did our family tree a few years ago, well, a lot of years ago now, and we all originate from Buckhaven in Fife. I want whatever bow and stern thrusters are in that on my boat. Did you see that? It's actually pretty cool having the moving boats and stuff. Some would say a bit gimmicky, but pretty cool. Well, fair enough, that's quite nice. So I can always think about, I've got to try and be a bit fairer, I think, when it comes to my views on things. So, I mean, realistically, what's important is the stock being correct. And the routes, yeah, I mean, I do think the routes have to be right. I quite like high fidelity routes. But it's understandable. I've learned so much doing this sort of thing where people come back to me and saying, look, that's actually a limitation of train sim itself, or look, that's a limitation with the modelling software. So there's lots of things I do not understand still. There's lots of things sometimes where I can kind of go, that's a bit weird. Why is that not there? They can do it with this, but they can't with that. And yeah, the other place to live, probably up the west coast. I would want somewhere sort of out of the way, but not too far out of the way. Quite like Port Patrick. It's a beautiful little town. Villagey town. It's up near Stranraer anyway. I can't say I'm the biggest fan of Stranraer. It's a fairly odd place. I actually have family in Stranraer. Yeah, nailed that. We're getting there. Gonna have to concentrate quite hard on this. I'm quite enjoying it. I do quite like Just Strange trees, actually, in this route. And some of the textures they've used for their rocks are quite nice as well. Not all of them, some of them are pretty god-awful. But I think they go quite nicely together. So we can't all be in the platform there. No. If I didn't put the loco in the platform, it would have been there. I like these National Cycle Network signs. something else and a nice little addition. Oh, that's pretty. I don't know why it is that road vehicles upset me. I can't work out if this looks like one of those sort of sad-looking Peugeot, Renault sort of type vans, or it is like a sad-looking Ford Model D. Or D-Type. Or D-Type? That's a Jaguar. I think it was a Ford D, Super D, at one point even. So we've got now Cacaldi, and that's us. Another thing that sort of bugs me is it's like the container ships. It's like somebody hasn't, well, self-discharging container ships maybe, but the things that I just don't think would take too much work, really. It's a bit weird. It kind of reminds me of when I was a kid, and, you know, I used to look in books and it'd be like when they drew cranes and the hooks were the wrong. This might just be me completely. The hooks were facing forward, or like excavators. That was one of my biggest bugbears in the whole wide world, right? Excavators drawn, but with the bucket facing forwards. What was that about? And that's a bit like container ships with cranes all in situ with their booms down and everything like that. It's just, they tend to all be on one side or the other. I mean, you can see somebody's had a rough look. It's better than I remember it, actually, I'm going to be honest. Still, hooks facing forward and bucket excavators the wrong way. And yeah, don't get me started with train stuff. Thomson tank was usually alright. It was it's the new version of Thomson tank that drives me absolutely wild. There's like trains like racing between points next to each other and that. If you look back at how the old Thomson tank series was done, even though we're talking about trains with, I mean, come on, trains with faces, it still was done semi. Operationally, there were certain things that were quite realistic. Signal positioning, things like that was all quite often right. And it's a shame, I think those versions of Thomson tank engine were amazingly good. I was a big fan of all the sort of David Mitten stuff, so that and Tugs, if any of you remember that. Was it Top Hat, Sunshine? I've actually, to be honest with you, in the shed, I don't know if I even mentioned in the shed tour, there was actually, I can see the very bottom of one of the boxes of my Tugs videos. Well, there's actually an HST stop sign on there, cool. Just about bang on time there. 3 seconds early, in fact. Oh, I like the disused sidings. I like that a lot. Somebody asked me the other day, talking of strange noise-making trains, I mentioned in the last video about the 170 pack. Oh, hang on, it might not have been the last video because it depends when this video goes out. In a previous video about the 170 pack and how I couldn't wait, somebody asked if I know a release date. I don't. I don't get anything from Armstrong Powerhouse that you guys don't, so I get no special treatment whatsoever. I'm very thankful for them. For one of my big breaks in YouTube was because my 313 video, which was actually pretty appalling but quite fun, was used on their Facebook page and YouTube, their Facebook page actually, and that brought me masses of views. So I do have a bit of a debt to them for that. But no, I don't. And to be fair, they're pretty good at keeping you informed when things are coming. It is one I'm really interested in though, because the 170 is a Thomson product. Thomson's end user license agreement pretty much forbids you doing anything with their stuff. It's pretty tight. So I'm guessing, and this is me speculating here, and it is purely a guess, they must have come to some sort of agreement. And no, again, another thing, I'm not Alan Thomson of Thomson Simulations. The guy does have the same name, even spelt the same way. But no, it's not me. But they are a Scottish-based firm, as far as I believe. And the interesting thing is, in my tags now, I have to put Thomson spelt with a P. Because I was looking on my YouTube thing, and actually a lot of YouTube is linking me is because people in search terms are putting the P in. And that's because in England, Thomson with a P is common. In Scotland, Thomson without a P. But no, nothing from them for nothing. I don't expect anything from anybody for nothing. I'll make a little bit of money out of this that pays for my DLC and stuff, so why should I get stuff for free? I mean, don't get me wrong, if companies want to offer me stuff for nothing, I wouldn't say no. But I don't mind paying for it. And that's not just Armstrong Powerhouse, that's all the developers really. I know Squirrel and QWERTY Afro quite often get a lot of Just Train stuff, usually a few days before release, to sort of go over. So I suppose they'll get it pretty cheap, or free for the review, I don't know. Usually Squirrel's pretty good at saying he's received a copy of it for review purposes or whatever. I think people can get quite upset, especially watching a lot of Squirrel stuff. People get really upset when he does a review of something that's by Asus. It's like, well, he's sponsored by Asus, so it's like he's going to do reviews of Asus products. Oh, do I try and whack it up just to bring it back down again? Yeah. No. No, we don't, because chances are I'm going to hit the buffers and then ruin the scenario. And actually, for all intents and purposes, we've not done too badly. It's not even been that much of a station overrun. Don't get me wrong, we have overrun. We've stopped short. No, that's not 20 yet. I think that looks a bit tight. Don't think I've ever been down this bit of track in my life. I'm sitting there going, I would love a chase camera, and then I'm like, well, we can have a chase camera. I'd like to be able to change the focal point to the front of the train, though. That would have been quite nice. I'm quite keen on the 68s. I do quite like the way they look. For modern stock, I am impressed. That and the 88s. I mean, the 88s are, again, another say, very similar looking unit. I'd love to have seen a Coco version of the 68, slightly longer, but with that sort of same cab. What a run! What a run, and considering this was knocked up in like a few hours by Chris, it's unbelievable. There's some talent. Alright then, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed playing it. That's rekindled my love with the Southeast Scottish East Coast Main Line. That 68 brake fix is from UKTS. I'll link to it in the description, hopefully, if I get a chance. I thoroughly recommend it. I should have pulled up to the signal, really. Yeah, I thoroughly recommend it. It's going to take me a little bit of getting used to, but it does seem more realistic to me, which is nice. Did we get in early? We got in very early. We got in 6 minutes, 40 seconds early. Am I missing bits of bridge as well now? It's odd, isn't it? This was just installed yesterday. The route was actually just installed yesterday. Right, anyway. Thanks ever so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to head over onto CH Simulations, CH Scenarios, sorry, and give this a go. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the video. Check out Facebook. Bad luck, I did not complete this scenario successfully. Check out Facebook. Links in the description below. Once again, thanks a lot, guys.